Hello everyone, this will be the 25th chapter of The Second Life of the Guardian, written and read by Insect Overlord. This chapter is titled Learning Laundry and has content warnings for mentioned death and mild depictions of corpse. When Izuku awoke the next morning, the first thing he did was check on Eri. He turned in his bed so he could see the spot her futon should be, and was surprised to see Eri laying on the floor, awake, futon nowhere to be seen. "Eri?" he called quietly. She glanced up at him. "Good morning, Eri. Did you sleep well?" She glanced at the door, then back at him, but didn't respond. Izuku got up from his bed to crouch in front of her. "Eri, are you all right? What happened to your futon?" She valiantly held her tears back as she pointed behind Izuku. He turned and saw it was stuffed under the far corner of his bed. He pulled it out. It was damp and smelled of urine. "Oh," he breathed out. "It's okay. Everyone has accidents sometimes." He smiled reassuringly. Izuku hadn't even considered Eri might wet the bed. He feels like he or his parents should have, but Izuku had potty trained before he could walk. Sometimes they forgot how much of an outlier he was. Eri was around 3 or 4 years old. Accidents at night shouldn't be unusual. Still, she was embarrassed, and given how she'd hidden the blankets, scared of him finding out. She had told him when he'd asked, at least. That had to mean something. Izuku gathered the futon in one hand and Eri's hand in the other. It was a bit difficult because of his size, but he managed. "We'll clean it up together. You can always tell me if something happens and I'll help you, okay?" Eri nodded. He wasn't sure if she fully believed him. In the laundry room, Izuku placed down his load and turned to Eri with his hands on his hips. "All right, so this is called a washing machine. It cleans clothes and stuff. I'll show you how it works." Izuku had decided that, since he didn't know what Eri knew, it was safest to explain everything so she wouldn't be confused. He turned to the washer and opened the door. "First, we put the dirty stuff in here," he explained as he stuffed the futon inside, closed the door, and then dusted off his hands. "Now we put the soap in." Izuku searched around for the soap. His mom and dad were in charge of the laundry, so he didn't know where anything was. "Ah, here it is." He grabbed the box of dry soap. He picked up the scoop inside and paused. He was used to liquid detergent, so he wasn't sure how much he needed. Filling up the scoop should be safest, though it felt like too much. Oh well, too much soap never hurt anyone. He scooped out the powder until it filled the measuring cup, and then paused once again. Where was he supposed to put it? The machine had a modern, sleek design with no pull-out soap bin. Where's the soap drawer?" he wondered aloud. Frowning, he turned to Eri. "Do you see it anywhere?" Eri put a finger on her chin and thought hard. She pushed one of the buttons at random, and the dispenser popped out the side of the washer. Why was it on the side? That felt inefficient. "Good job, Eri," he praised. She smiled slightly. "Okay, so we put the soap in here, close it up, and press start." He turned back to his sister. "Now we wait, and when it sings its song in an hour, that means your bed is all clean. It'll still be wet when we take it out, though, so we can't forget to put it in the dryer." She nodded seriously, her face determined. Izuku brought her back to their room, and they dug through his old clothes to find something for her. His parents had never gotten rid of the ones he grew out of, so there was plenty to share. Still, Eri needed some clothes of her own. He would bring it up with his mom later. Eri picked out a white t-shirt with ladybugs on it and green shorts. It didn't quite match, but she liked it, so the fashion designer and Izuku let it be. Izuku left her in the room to change while he went to greet his mom. He found her sitting on the couch watching the news with a vindicated look on her face. "Breaking news," the anchor announced. There were sirens in the background, and smoke and ash could be seen behind the woman. A group of heroes led by All Might's former sidekick, Sir Night-Eye, were unable to carry out the raid on the Yakuza compound they planned for this morning. According to the detective leading the case, they were able to identify the group as the kidnappers of a recently rescued 7-year-old child. Despite the group's quick planning and execution, they couldn't capture any of the members. This wasn't because they escaped, but rather because someone else got to them first. Here's the lead detective, Tsukauchi, to tell us more. The camera panned to the detective, who was handed a microphone by the newscaster. Thank you, Ito-san. At 7:30 this morning, the team of pros arrived at the location to find it already reduced to ash. Heroes and paramedics on the scene were able to recover the bodies of multiple known members, all of whom were dead. A blurry photo of Overhaul and his weird bird mask, likely taken from a security camera, appeared on the top corner of the screen. Our main objective, Overhaul, also known as Chisaki Kai, was found without his limbs, covered in lacerations, and burned to death. My force is currently working hard to find the perpetrators. The Shia Hisaikai had a lot of enemies, so we have a long list of suspects. Izuku smiled wide from behind the couch. He knew he shouldn't be happy about murder, but honestly, F that guy. Yeah, get effed, Overhaul, he cheered, pumping his fist in the air. His mom jumped and turned to look at him. Izuku, how long have you been standing there? She placed a hand over her heart and sighed. Also, no cursing, young man. You know better, she chided, without much heat, before smiling at him. But, yeah, F him. There was a patter of feet from behind him, and he heard a small voice repeat, Yeah, F him! Izuku looked at Eri, horrified, and his mom burst out laughing. This concludes Chapter 25 of The Second Life of the Guardian. I wrote a kind of analysis in the notes, so I'm just going to read it so I don't have to, re-explain it. One thing children with a history of abuse struggle with is the fear of getting in trouble for what most others think are mundane reasons. A lot of the time, whatever it is was something they used to be unjustly punished for, but other times the fear comes from not knowing the people around them well enough to predict how they'll respond. As for bedwetting, it can be a byproduct of abuse, but it can also be something that's completely developmentally appropriate. It depends on the child. Usually, boys wet the bed longer than girls do, but again, it depends on the child. I have a 3-year-old brother who still uses a pull-up at night, but at the same time, I was potty trained at 6 months. With children as young as Eri, it can be hard to pinpoint the origins of their behavior, but no matter where it comes from, they still deserve to be treated with respect and patience. Remember, for future chapters, that childhood abuse and childhood sexual abuse have a permanent impact on brain development. No matter how good Eri and Izuku's parents may be, their pasts will always follow them, and their brain development has literally/physically been stunted. That's it for this chapter. The next one should be up soon. Thank you so much for listening.